Hey guys, you're watching Matt the Musketeer, and today I have another PC based video for you. Now about a month ago I did my gaming setup video, and a lot of you guys in the comment section were saying, you know, we want to see your PC specs, you didn't tell us your computer specs, and there was a reason for that, and it's because I knew I was going to make this video. So today we're going to run through my computer specs, we're going to open my PC up and take a look at my hardware inside. Now if you haven't seen my gaming setup video already and want to check that out first, I will leave a link for that in the top corner over there somewhere if you want to see that first. But now we're just going to go ahead and open this bad boy up and take a look inside. Okay, so now we've taken the side off my computer, we can now see all my components inside. Now to begin with, I'm going to talk you through the thing that's holding my computer all together, and that is the case. Now this is the NZXT Phantom case. I get a lot of comments saying they think it's Alienware. It's not. It's the NZXT Phantom. It is the larger of the two. There are two in the series, and this is the larger version. It is quite a big case. Now, some good features that run with this case. It does have a double wall at the back which allows cable management. So what that means is the wall you can see here isn't actually the outside wall of the computer. There are two walls which allow you to run your cables through these little gaps here, which means you can tuck them away and there aren't lots of cables floating around inside the computer. Now mine isn't the tidiest of computers. I still have my PSU to graphics cards cables kind of floating around a little bit. But generally it is quite a tidy setup using the cable management. Now this case, as you saw at the start, I do have a window panel on the side. That isn't a standard feature. The standard side panel actually comes with a 200mm fan grill on the side, but I swapped that out for a window panel so I could see my components inside. Now when you get this case as standard, you can fit up to 7 fans. One on the front here, 200mm, two smaller ones on the side, a rear one, two 120mm fans on the top, and then a smaller one on the front. Obviously I only can run 6 now that I have a window panel, so I have as many fans as I can to keep it cool apart from the window panel. As I said, the little setting on the top allows you to choose the speed of your fans, so that's a pretty cool feature if you're doing a demanding task with your computer. You can rack up all your fans to keep it nice and cool whilst it's you know, doing a challenging task or something like that. Okay, so moving on to the components inside, we'll take a look first at my motherboard. Now my motherboard, which you can see chilling at the back, is a Sabertooth X58. Now it isn't the latest motherboard out there, it's a little bit old now, it's about a year and a half old, so I have set up a Amazon list on my homepage if you want to check out that. I have all my parts that you can go ahead and purchase if you wanted to. But my motherboard isn't actually on there because I don't think Amazon sell that motherboard at the moment. So I put a Sabertooth variant on there instead. But this is the Sabertooth X58. It's a very good motherboard. You can pick it up now for about 100, 120 pounds, something like that. Still very good, still, you know, a state-of-the-art motherboard, but it isn't their latest in the range anymore. Now attached into my motherboard, first off is of course my processor, and I'm actually running the i7-950. Now I got a lot of comments about this recently asking what I was running. I was actually a little bit confused myself, but I am actually running the i7-950. I kind of got muddled up with my processors for a little while there, so I apologise for that, but it is the i7-950. A very, very good processor, good for running things like if you want to do Photoshop and Sony Vegas and run quite demanding tasks. The i7 is good for that, and of course it is good for gaming if this is going to be your gaming PC. Now if you're going to be doing a lot of gaming and demanding tasks, the heatsink that you get with a processor, I always recommend, you know, getting a much better one. This large box that you can see here is the Arctic Extreme Freeze 2. It is the heatsink that I run with my processor to keep it all cool. It's a much more kind of impressive heatsink when you're doing demanding things like gaming and stuff, and it'll keep your processor very, very cool. Now to the right of that you can see my RAM. I'm running 12GB of RAM in 3 4GB sticks, and it is the Ripjaw Extreme RAM. As you can see here, 3 4GB sticks. I can actually fit another 3 sticks in there if I wanted to, so I could ramp it up to 24GB of RAM if I was sticking with the 4GB sticks. Of course with RAM you've got to stick with the same gigabyte modules. You couldn't use 2GB of RAM and then a 4GB of RAM. You've got to use the same size for each one, so they've all got to be 4 or all got to be 8 or all got to be 2. You can't swap between different sizes. So sticking with the 4GB, I could actually ramp this up to 24GB of RAM if I wanted to. A little bit overkill, probably not necessary, but it is something I could do. Now moving down a little bit, you can see the bad boy that everyone asks questions about. This is the MSI Twin Frozr GTX 680 graphics card. If you haven't seen my setup video, I did a bench test video for this. I'll leave a link for that right there in the corner if you want to check that out as well. I was testing it against my old setup, 2 GTX 560 Ti cards. So if you want to see that, go ahead and watch that video as well. Now this, I run Battlefield in Ultra, and I play at about 100 to 110, between 100 and 110, sometimes down to about 90 or 80 frames at, you know, pretty tight situations, but normally around 100 frames in Ultra settings. As I said, I did a bench test for all that on the video up in the corner there. Very, very good graphics card. Got it quite cheap now. They're actually dropping in price, so if you're interested in getting a top of the range card, I do recommend looking at the MSI 2GB GTX 680. Very, very good card. Now moving on down to my power supply. Now this is the OCZ Fatality, and it's a 750 watt power supply, or PSU. Now it might be a little bit overkill, but you know, one day I might get another 680. If I'm running two of those in SLI, 750 watts might be the kind of power I need to kick out for this thing. Tonight's very quiet. It's got a red fan actually. All my fans, everything's very blue. It actually kicks out a little red fan on the back. I don't know if you can see the light from that in the video, but it's pretty cool. It's a very, very nice PSU. Very quiet, quite cheap as well, relatively cheap. Now, in terms of hard drive space and how I run my computer, over here you can see two standard hard drives, just Samsung, 1TB each hard drives. Now I just use those for storage. I save my game files, I save my, when I'm recording, I save my kind of project files to my hard drives. But my operating system, some Windows, and the main programs I use, so Photoshop, Sony Vegas and Battlefield 3 are all on my solid state drive, which is hidden away back here. Now this is a 120GB solid state drive. I do have another one down there ready to install, but at the moment I've just got 120GB of SSD, and that is just for installing. I don't even have all my games on there, just Battlefield 3 and my operating system, which means they load very quick and everything runs very quickly. Now at the top of my computer I have a very, very simple, just rewritable CD-ROM drive. Cost about £20 for this optical drive. Hardly ever use it, literally stick a disc in, install the game, and then it's never used since. So it's about a £20 optical drive there, nothing special at all. But I do have just a simple one installed, no Blu-ray drive or anything like that, just a very, very simple optical drive. And that rounds up pretty much all of the specs of my computer. Now if you guys have any more questions you want to ask me, feel free to tell me that in the comment section below, right down there. Tell me all your questions and thoughts and all your queries. And if you did enjoy the video, guys, and want to see more PC videos, please give me a thumbs up. It does help me out a lot. But in the meantime, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.